If you're in the market for a mitre saw at an affordable price, then the Evolution R255SMS could be exactly what you've been looking for. Available for just £299, the Evolution Mitre Saw is making every effort to be one of the cheapest available on the market. But cheap often comes with sacrifices, and in this video I'll be exploring what features are included and, more importantly, not included for such a low price. Let's get into it. And if you are considering buying this mitre saw for yourself and you like saving money, make sure to stick around until the end of the video. So first up, it's build quality out of the box, and the Evolution Mitre Saw comes with everything that you need to get started making your first cuts, and that's including the wood cutting blade as well as a multi-material blade, so if you do decide to cut metal or plastics, you've got the option to do both. Unfortunately, this saw does not come ready to use, and you are going to need to set aside about an hour to assemble everything. Luckily for you, I have put together an assembly video for this, so if you have ordered one, make sure to check out that video after you're done here. The assembly was not particularly difficult, and if I was guessing, this is a way for Evolution to offer the saw at a cheaper price, which I think is a sacrifice a lot of people would be happy with. Evolution has also built two rolling stands to work seamlessly with this saw, and they're available for £100 and £159 depending on what model you buy. As for the build quality itself, I think it's pretty good. Most of the saw is actually made from cast aluminium, and in the case where you see orange, that's all going to be made out of hard plastics as well. It certainly doesn't feel cheap, and it does feel like it's going to last a long time. However, I do think it's important to point out that it doesn't have that same build quality or that just quality feeling that you would come to expect from brands like DeWalt or Makita. Then again, this saw is available for under half the price, so that is to be expected. Before making your first cut with this saw, I highly recommend that you check it for accuracy out of the box. Mine was mostly fine, however the 0-degree bevel was 1 or 2 degrees off, so I did have to spend a little bit of time adjusting that to make sure that was right before I got started. Making calibrations on this saw isn't the most straightforward thing to do, and Evolution hasn't included all of the tools that you would need to make all of those calibrations, which seems like something that could easily be addressed. To check the calibrations of everything on this, you are going to need a set square, 2 3mm hex bits, and a couple of spanners. I have a full calibration video available for this saw, so be sure to check that out after you're done here. In terms of features on this saw, it's fair to say that this one comes with a surprising amount. You're able to bevel the saw up to 45 degrees to the left and to the right, which can save a lot of time flipping the timber around. There is a built-in laser indicator that highlights the cut you're about to make. It's got a depth limiter, which is handy if you're doing things like lap joints. A built-in bevel limiter, so if you're working with repeated bevel cuts, you can consistently position your saw back to that angle. There is both a vertical as well as a horizontal clamp included in the box, which makes holding down your timber very straightforward. And the inclusion of 2 blades, one for woodworking and one for multi-material use, such as plastic and metal, is particularly nice. As for cut quality, this saw has yet to fail at anything I have thrown at it. Here is me cutting into some very thick oak sleepers, and it gets through it with no issue at all, leaving a quality finish. And the quality of that finish has certainly been good enough for my casual DIY projects. And just so you can compare, here's me cutting through the same piece of wood with and without dust extraction, so you can see the difference that it makes. I do have to say that I'm pleasantly surprised with the dust collection there. I do think it actually reduced the sawdust that was in the air quite a lot. As for the stand, I really like the one that Evolution have provided. This is the extra large version, which, if I'm honest, is probably a little too big for my needs. I would rather have gone with the smaller one that has a slightly narrower width. However, as you can see, I'm currently sat on it, all of my 85 kilograms, and I've had an extra Weetabix this morning, so I'm probably at my heaviest, is supported by this stand. It's done a great job at keeping timber supported as I've been making cuts on the mitre saw itself, and I think any stand that is made to fit your saw specifically is going to offer a level of convenience, especially if you're the type of person that is using this saw out and about. The only thing that I would say to watch out for is the wheelbase on this stand is quite narrow, so a couple of times this has fallen over slightly as I've been wheeling it around and maybe making a tight turn with it. Just watch out for that, as if it does fall hard, you will probably end up damaging your saw in the process. As always, I do like to end my reviews by just talking about the things that I like and dislike about this particular tool. So I really like, firstly, that this tool is available for such a low price. It's available for £299, that's the double bevel version. And if you don't want the double bevel, which not everyone does, you can actually get this for a much cheaper price of £200, which is really nice. I think a mitre saw is, generally speaking, one of the first purchases most beginner woodworkers will make, and this does open it up for those that have a lower budget available. Again, I think it's great that Evolution have included a 3-year warranty with this mitre saw, and really does show that they have confidence in its long-term performance. The last thing you want is to spend a few £100s on a tool like this and then it breaks a year later, so it's great to know that you've got that backup there should you need it. I think the inclusion of 2 blades on the Plus edition of this saw is really nice. For most woodworkers, I think it's obvious that you are going to put the woodworking blade in and probably never use the other one. However, if you are using timber that is likely to have things like nails in it, then the other blade that's included is going to be perfect for that, and means that you will not make your wood blade dull by going through those occasional nails and screws. As for things that I think could be improved about this saw, well, firstly, I think Evolution should absolutely include more tools that you need to make the calibrations. I had to go through my entire shed to find the 2 hex keys required to adjust the 0-degree bevel. I do think Evolution should look to include 2 Allen keys in the future so you can make these calibrations, and actually one of those, cheap metal spanners that you get in kits like this wouldn't hurt as well. Secondly, I'm going to say that the laser guide that comes on this saw, although seems impressive at first that such a thing comes on such a cheap saw, ultimately I think this is just a gimmick, and unless you are sawing in the dark, which I absolutely do not advise, I would just rely on the old-fashioned tape measure and pencil line and push your blade down so you know where you're cutting. And I think if they could remove this and lower the price even more, that would probably be preferable to a lot of people. Another limitation of the Evolution mitre saw is that you are limited to the 1-inch arbor in the blade, which will really limit your choices of blades. Now, this isn't going to be an issue for most casual DIYers, as the blades that come included are going to be everything you'll probably ever need to make all of the cuts that you have in mind, but it is something to consider. So now it's time for the ultimate question. Is this mitre saw actually worth the money? Well, I'm going to say if you are a DIYer who's going to be using this for their own personal use, then absolutely you cannot go wrong with this Evolution mitre saw. It's going to offer you the versatility to complete a wide range of projects. However, if you're someone that is investing in a mitre saw for your career and you want it to last a long time, then I would look at other brands such as the DeWalt mitre saw, who is considered the king in this category. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you are interested in buying this mitre saw, head over to their website and make sure to use discount code Sumeray for an exclusive 5% off. Not only will you be saving money, but you will also be helping support this channel. If you enjoyed this video, then please go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe so you never miss another video. Be sure to check out the assembly and calibration video that I did on this saw next, and until next time, happy building.